Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to this October 2024 meeting of the Natrona County Planning and Zoning Commission. And first thing on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the born and unborn.
So a bunch of folks in the audience tonight, thank you guys for taking your time out to come visit with us. My name is Hal Hutchinson. I'm the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission. To my immediate right is Commissioner Robert Grant. To my immediate left is Commissioner Ray Schulte. And to my far left is Commissioner Chad McNutt.
Sorry.
So understand Commissioner Sabrina Kemper is not going to be with us this evening.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
All right. So I'd also like to introduce Jared Holbrook, Deputy County Attorney. Next to Jared is Shelby Trottier, the Planning Technician. In the yellow on the first bench is Sean Gustafson. He's from ECS. He's contracting for planning services for Natrona County. And I don't see Steve Granger. Okay. So everyone should be aware that this commission is an advisory board of the Natrona County Commissioners. Our decisions are subject to approval, conditional approval, denial, or modification by the Board of County Commissioners. For each application on the agenda, we will hold an official public hearing. The hearings are recorded, and there will be written minutes of the meeting. After the commission holds a public hearing, unless an application is tabled or withdrawn, the Board of County Commissioners will hold another public hearing for the application. Tonight, everyone will have an opportunity to address the commission. First, we'll ask for those in favor to come up and address the commissioners at the lectern here. Then those opposed to the application may come up same way. When the chair recognizes you, please come to the podium and clearly state your name and address before giving your comments. We've got quite a few folks in the audience tonight. Would like to limit all your comments to 3 minutes, please. 3 minutes.
What? 3 minutes?
So, no speaking from the audience, please. So this is not a forum for public outcry or speaking from the audience. You must first be recognized by the chair before addressing the commission. If a person's conduct is out of order, the chair may give the person a warning. If the person continues the conduct, or if the conduct is extremely out of order, the person may be directed to leave immediately. We have 2 items on the agenda tonight. One is VC 24-03, and the second is SFS 2401. Okay. Next thing on the agenda is consideration of the minutes from the September 10th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review those? And Chair would entertain a motion for consideration of those minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes without amendment as presented.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Shelby, I did recognize just a typo. I don't think it matters. Top of page 3, it reads Bossamer instead of Bessemer, or maybe that was the way it was supposed to be. Was it? One of the two was
Mr. Chair,
wrong.
it was presented as Bossamer for that particular application. Just so the board is aware, the county commissioners, upon approving that last week, did require that they change that to Bessemer. But for these minutes, Bosmer is correct.
Okay, cool. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the minutes as prepared signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign? Hearing none, we have unanimous recommendation for approval of the minutes. Okay, next on the agenda is VCS 24-03, and that has to do with Alcova West Ranchettes. And this is a request by Alcova West Ranchettes Homeowners Association for lot size requirements in the suburban residential SR1. The lot is located at Alcova West Ranchettes lots 8 and 9. If the variance is approved, the HOA will replat to split off the land where the water distribution is for maintenance purposes. Sean, do we have a staff report, please?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Sean Gustafson, ECS Engineers, 1607 CY, your interim planner. Okay, as you stated, a request by Shane Bullard, HOA President, for approval for a variance to develop a lot that does not meet minimum area requirements. The parcel contains approximately, well, that's actually incorrect, a little over almost, contains more than 1.422 acres. I'll have to add that up. Of suburban residential. SR1 is the zoning district. Legal description, that's lot 9 of Alcova West Ranchettes, being part of the southwest quarter of Section 28, Township 30 North, Range 83 West. The property is physically located on the southwesterly side of Cedar Valley Road, approximately 0.8 miles westerly of the intersection of Lakeshore Drive and Lakeview Road, and that is all south and a little west of Alcova Marina. So zoning is SR1, suburban residential. The minimum lot size in the current zoning is 2 acres. Existing land use, the property is currently, there's a house currently on property on land, lot number 8, and there is, on what the proposed lot 9, there is currently a well and well house on.
Sean, you
lot
gonna have a
9.
map for us so we can follow you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, there's minimum 2 acres, voice. Okay. There's the actual acreages, so the full acreage of the area being looked at is about 1.5 acres. Lot 8 right now is being shown as 1.945 acres. Lot 9 is being shown as 0.522 acres. The lot 9 is the variance. The purpose of variance is to allow a specific deviation from the regulations that is not contrary to the desired future character of the site when due to special circumstances of the land. Strict application of these regulations would result in an undue and unique hardship. The approval criteria. In granting any variance, the board may attach such reasonable conditions and safeguards as it may deem necessary to implement the purpose of this act and the zoning ordinance. The applicant shall have the burden of demonstrating the proposal satisfies the applicable review criteria. Variances shall be approved upon finding the conditions. This is basically straight out of the zoning code. There are exceptional or unique circumstances and conditions applicable to the property involved, and literal application of this resolution to the applicant's property will result in a hardship that is greater than the protection offered to the community. The special circumstance and conditions have not resulted in any willful modification of the land or building. Number 3, the variance sought is the minimum variance necessary to provide balance between the purpose of the regulation sought to be varied and its impact to the applicant. The variance, number 4, the variance will not result in a gain in use or service or income of the applicant to a greater extent than available to other landowners in the vicinity. Granting the variance will not impair the use of adjacent property or alter the character of the neighborhood. Number 6, granting the variance is consistent in the general intent and purpose of the county development plan and this resolution. Number 7, the site is not subject to a series of variances that circumvent the purposes of this section. Staff findings. In the case of VC 24-3, request for zoning variance, the lot size, according to the recorded subdivision, which was recorded in 1979, the original lot size of Lot 8 was 1.42 acres. The owner has, and there's some changes I'm making here as I run along just a little bit. The owner does have a house on lot number 8 that has been built. It will, and that was quite a while ago. It has an on-site septic system, and the water will be provided through the Alcova West Ranchettes public water system. The required minimum lot size to comply with the 2022 zoning resolution for suburban residential, SR1, is 2-acre minimum without public sewer. The intent and purpose of the suburban residential is to provide for the project area of low-density residential and accessory agricultural uses. That's the 2022 zoning resolution, section 2.04.02. Planning considerations, staff comment, the Road and Bridge Department had no comment, the county surveyor had no comment, Natrona Soil Conservation District had no comment, Fire District had no comment, Natrona GIS had no comment, Natrona Assessor had no comment. Natrona County Health Department had no issue with the variance, but stated that the development of the property would require a minimum of a 200-foot separation between the Alcova West Ranchettes public well, which is located on the lot, and any proposed septic system. Public comment. As the date of this report, we have not received any written comments, and staff did send notice to our surrounding neighbors. Recommendations. In this case, staff finds that all of the conditions were met with a couple of things we do recommend. So we do recommend passing this variance along to the county commissioners with 2 additional comments. That lot 9 may only be used for the municipal public use of the Alcova West Ranchettes public well for water supply. So that is what lot 9 is being set apart for, and we want to make sure that that stays, that the only use that will be allowed on that. We also recommend that lot 8 be revised, and I'm behind again, I apologize. This is the best one here. That lot 8 be revised to 2 acres or more. Right now, lot 8 is 1.945 acres. Lot 9 is 0.522 acres. That would make lot 9 just a little bit smaller. But lot 8 should be, in our opinion, 2 acres or greater. The purpose, just to go over that again, of lot number 9 is for what you see, and I know again this thing doesn't light up on the screen, but the area right here is the existing easement for the well house. This is the existing access easement to that point. So nothing really changes in this except for the fact that that well house, which doesn't have public utilities other than the fact that it supplies water to the surrounding lands, but that would become under ownership of the HOA or the Alcova West Ranchettes group, and we would say that would be the only option. So making that lot just a little bit smaller really doesn't hurt the purpose of it. So that's with that, And like I said, we recommend passing of that, and I'd like to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Gustafson? Chad?
Yep, I just have a question. So make sure I understand right. So I think what you want to do, you're going to make the proposed lot is 0.522 acres, which was 9. Is that right? And then you're going to, or that, I guess that is going to be the new 9. And then you're going to take proposed lot 8 and sort of expand it across, other than the water, the water supply easement?
That's
what I
correct.
understand? Okay.
Yes, and we recommend that Lot 8, that one of the lines, probably the line that's running north and south on this map here, be moved to create 2 acres
Okay.
on lot number 8. So then there's only one, even though it's a grandfathered lot, there's only one variance here.
Thank you.
Other questions?
So on lot 9, there would not be a home built, is that right?
That is correct, and that was the first condition that we'd like to throw in there, is that Lot 9 would only be used for its existing use, which is to have that well house and the maintenance of that well house.
So
on there.
the 200-foot distance for the septic tank really doesn't apply to lot 9?
Yes, it does, and the fact that let me go back okay. Well house being right here, that was in here. The actual septic system for this place sits about right there, according to GIS. And if you take and measure it from there, now I don't have like an actual measurement from the D box or anything. We could certainly ask for that. That looks to be somewhere between 195 and 210 feet to where exactly that sits. So I do believe it probably makes, it's already there. It was put in the year 2000. And I do believe it makes the separation for the well. But we could ask that that be verified too. That's just a public health concern. So I shouldn't say just a public health concern. That's a public health concern.
Yeah, but because it looked like on the lot 9, there really wasn't 200 feet to put in a septic tank unless they put it clear up by the road.
Yeah, on lot 9, it would be very, very tough to get a 200 feet separation. But that's
The new lot 9 wouldn't allow for it.
right. Well, I can't say that it wouldn't allow for it, but it would be very hard to get that done. It'd have to be in the very far southern portion of it.
I don't think you could put it on a half acre and stay 200 feet away.
The well's been there since the late 70s, and there is no sanitary facilities on the site. It's just a house to house the well and keep it out of the weather and house some of the equipment. So,
No office or no one would be stationed there
no,
from a workplace standpoint.
no,
right?
this is a come in, do some maintenance and leave, so.
That's all I had.
Okay,
I'm good. I think he explained it very well.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Do we have the applicant present, or he could come up and fill us in on anything that you might need to know? Good evening.
Good evening, Chair. My name is Shane Bullard. I'm the president of Alcova West Ranchettes and have been for 20 years. My address is 2749 Salt Creek Highway here in Casper. So I will add a little bit more color here because we did have a measurement from Dex Whaley, which is the homeowner, which resides here at this residence. He measured after a phone call with the health department, it's 210 feet over to his well, from our back well, because the well's at the back of the fence there, over to where his septic system holding tanks are. So, but other than that, the primary reason for this is the water system is aging. We put in close to $70,000 last year just to keep it operational. We've had a series of tests where we have lots of issues that need to be repaired. Lots of curb stops, lots of things that cause us issues. Primarily today, we have a tank that needs to be restored. It's cost prohibitive to restore, so it needs to be removed and put a plastic tank in its place. It's about a 10,000 gallon tank, if I recall, maybe 15. But nevertheless, with that, the whole well house will have to be removed, and because it's underneath. But at this point, we have the homeowners association has 0 assets. So in order to control our own destiny out there and supply drinking water that is of good nature, regulated by the EPA and the DEQ, we need to make sure that we can invest into that and have an asset that's part of the homeowners association. So therefore, the best way for us to accommodate this and also accommodate the owner of the land currently is to separate these lots so that we're not adding or subtracting a lot. We're just reducing the footprint of the lot so that we can make it usable for our own use, which is nothing more than upgrade this well that we continue to repair as it continues to give us some troubles in the subdivision. But nevertheless, that's kind of where we are today, and see if there's any questions.
Questions for Mr. Bullard?
I think I'm good.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I do have one question
Yes.
for Mr. Bullard. As Mr. Gustafson did make a recommendation that the proposed amended plat change the sizes here.
Yes, sir.
We have proposed Lot 8 that is currently proposed to be 1.945 acres, and the Lot 9 at 0.522 acres. But to make Lot 8 a conforming lot, as it's non-conforming right now, as it's under 2 acres, would everyone be amenable to changing the sizes of these slightly to make Lot 8 a 2-acre lot?
Yes, sir. And I should make a note that if you look at our plat of our neighborhood, there are no 2-acre lots that I'm aware of. Every lot is under 2 acres, which is an odd ordeal, but nevertheless. But with that being the case, this whole proposal has went through our HOA meeting that we had, our annual meeting about a month ago, so that everybody had a voice. And the voice of concern is making sure we have good, reliable drinking water for 30 residents in this subdivision.
Thank you.
I might add, I read the significance of that 2 acres goes back to 1979. Is that correct?
I
Or
can't recall the date
initial,
off the top of my
initial,
head.
additional, or original zoning? Something going back required 2 acres, and I'm assuming that's the impetus for requiring 2 acres here.
Yes.
Okay.
So if we're, essentially, Mr. Chair, if we're creating, changing the sizes here, and the purpose is for one of these lots to just be for that water supply, it would make sense to make the other lot a conforming lot.
Okay. Thank you. Any more discussion before we get into the public hearing? All right, so we'd like to call public hearing open for the consideration of case number BC 24-3. And as we've been discussing, that is the Alcova West Ranchettes. So all those in favor of the proposed variance, you come to the lectern and please let us know. Mr. Bullard, this is where the applicant would typically come up and say, I'm in favor. Sorry, we could have kept you up here.
No, you're fine. I just don't know the rules. So nevertheless, I'd like for the committee to take a look at this and hopefully all vote in favor of being able to control our own destiny and the ability to supply water to our homeowners at Alcova West Ranchettes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the application, would you come forward, please? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Good evening.
I'm Marshall Whaley. Happen to be the owner of all this lot 8 and 9 and stuff. We're all in favor of what we've laid out here on the sizes and stuff. And evidently you have to reduce what you're proposing for 9 a little bit to make 8 2 acres. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. But
Oh, okay. Well, then I have no problem or no objections. I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? Seeing none, anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application, would you please come forward? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Last time, opposition? Seeing none, declare this public hearing closed for the consideration of the Alcova West Ranchettes variance request. Commissioners, any discussion?
I can't think of anything. Looks pretty clear.
Chair would entertain a motion for consideration if you guys are so inclined. And keep in mind, we did have 2 staff additions to the proposed motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move, considering all relevant factors, including but not limited to those set forth in the 2013 subdivision regulations in Natrona County, I find that the variance meets the general standards required. On that basis, I move to approve BC 24-3 with a due pass recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners with all staff findings of fact incorporated by reference.
Including those 2.
Yep, including the findings from staff.
just for clarification, would that include the conditions that Mr. Gustafson referenced?
Yes, is that part of the findings in the packet? Then yes, please.
I don't think it's specifically listed as the findings in the
Okay.
in the packet, so I think the motion does need to include
Okay,
the conditions as laid out by staff during this hearing.
okay, well, can we amend that motion then to add to bring that lot size up to 2 acres from 1.9 and change? Does that work, Jerry?
And I had the other one was lot 9 is only to be used for municipal type use.
Quite well, okay,
Clear enough?
all right. All right, so can we amend we'll amend the motion then. I'm just going to do the last part of that. I move to approve the BC 24-3 with the due pass recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners with all staff findings in fact incorporated by reference, including bringing the lot size, lot 8 up to 2 acres, and sectioning off the water well easement, 0.5 acres change. How's that?
And that lot 9 only
And lot
be
9
used
will
for-
only be used for that purpose, for the water well. Got it.
I'll second the motion.
Perfect.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll go to the question. All those in favor of the motion as presented signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we have a 4-0 recommendation to the county commissioners. All right, so next on the agenda is apparently the reason most people are here. SF 24, SFS 24-01, and that is a request by EG Haystack Solar LLC for a solar facility. The project is located in central Natrona County, approximately 24 miles northwest of Casper and 0.4 miles south of US Highway 26. The preliminary site plan is located on 2,010 acres of private land. The project is planned to be a 199 megawatt utility scale solar system and a 100 megawatt battery energy storage system site. Sean, may we have a staff report, please?
Good evening again. As the chairman mentioned, the municipal or a commercial solar facility, power generation with storage is what we're looking at here on this site. The current zoning is RAM, ranching, agricultural, and mining. Minimum lot size in this case is not really applicable. The existing, it is 10 acres, but not applicable to this case. Existing land use, the site is central Nakota County, south of US 2026 near the town site of Natrona and west of Natrona Road. Currently, the existing land use is unimproved rangeland. Adjacent land uses are north, south, east, and west, all RAM zoning. Water source would be well, wastewater would be septic. Summary, the applicant, E.G. Haystack Solar LLC, through its agent Ryan Wonk of Jacobs, are requesting I hope I said that name right, anyway, sorry. Requesting approval of 2,010 acre solar facility, 199 megawatts, and 100 megawatts of battery storage. The project also includes substation, laydown area, access roads, and medium voltage collection systems. The location, if you don't mind, that's written there. That's quite a long legal. But that is accurate. I did go through and check that. So, material submitted. For the record, the applicant must also apply for a Wyoming Industrial Siting Permit in accordance with the Wyoming Industrial Development Information and Siting Act, Wyoming State Statute 35-12-101. And the rules and regulations of the Wyoming Industrial Siting Council. Certain applicable standards in the Natrona County's land use regulations for the site plan review are similar to certain standards applicable to the council or within that application. Accordingly, this request references the applicant's forthcoming ISA permit application to further demonstrate the project compliance with the Natrona County Solar Energy Plan and regulations. Some of the required items, landowner signature is included in section 4.1 of the application, keeping in mind that this application is about 533 pages long. Enclosure 1. Landowner notices 5.09A2 are in section 4.2, appendix C. Local jurisdiction notices 5.09A2, section 4.2, appendix D. General scope 5.09A3 is in section 4.3. Public utility information 5.09A4 is in section 4.4. The summary of solar 5.09A5 is in section 4.5. The social and economic report 5.09A6 A through F is in section 4.7, appendix A. Drainage and erosion, dust control, grading, and vegetation removal plan is 5.09, section 8A through G, A8 A through G. That's section 4.8, appendix F in the application. Waste Management Plan, 5.09A9, Section 4.9, Appendix G. Reclamation and Decommissioning Plan, 5.09A10, is in Section 4.10, Appendix H. Environmental Analysis, 5.09A11, is in Section 4.11 of the application. Visual Impacts, Appearance, and Scenic Viewsheds, 5.09A12, is in Section 4.12, Appendix J. Solar glare analysis is 5.09A13, is in Section 413, Appendix K of the application. Traffic study, 5.09A14, is in Section 4.14, Appendix L. Evidence of legal access, 5.09A15, is Section 4.15, Appendix M. Transportation plan for construction and operation phases, which is required in 5.09A16, is in Section 4.16, Appendix N. And finally, the notice of material rights, 5.09A17, is in Section 417, Appendix E. The application is extremely complete. Planning considerations. The purpose of Section 5.09 solar and wind energy facilities of the 2022 zoning resolution is to specifically require certain information to ascertain and evaluate the specifics of the facility being proposed and make recommendations to accept or deny the application as submitted based upon the purpose and intent of the zoning resolution. The conditions are application requirements to obtain a permit required by Wyoming statute, 18-5502. The owner or developer of a solar facility shall submit an application to the BOCC. The application shall, number one, have signatures on the application from all surface property owners upon which the solar facility or WEF is located. WEF would stand for a wind energy facility. Number two, provide evidence that responsible efforts have been made to provide notice in writing to all owners of land within 1 mile and all cities and towns located within 20 miles of the facility. Notice shall include a general description of the project, including its location, projected number and capacity of solar facilities, or WEF, likely routes of ingress, egress, and likely location of electrical transmission and other facilities. Number three, general scope, relevant information on the project, including general location of the project, time frame for construction, including the schedule for phasing, project life, markets for the electricity produced, and the status of the power purchase agreement. The public utility information documentation that the proposed solar facility or WEF is owned or operated by the public utility and subject to the requirements of the Public Service Commission, if applicable. Number five, summary of the solar facility or wind energy facility, provided a description of the project, including its total nameplate generating capacity, nameplate capacity for each module, the equipment, manufacturer, types of solar modules, complete component list of the system, number of solar arrays and maximum solar or WEF system height, the distance between the ground and top of the solar array or WEF. Social and economic report, number 6. The total and economic reporting requirement shall include the following. A, the estimated amount of property sales and other taxes to be generated by the project in Natrona County. B, estimated local expenditures of construction materials in Natrona County. C, the estimated number of construction jobs and estimated construction payroll. D, estimated number of local construction job opportunities. E, estimate of the construction workforce spending in Natrona County. And F, estimate of the number of permanent jobs and estimated continuing payroll. Number 7, drawings prepared by a qualified professional surveyor licensed in the state of Wyoming, prepared to a suitable scale on 24 by 36 inch sheets. Solar facility or WEF solar facility or WEF boundary lines and property lines shall be shown. B, legal description of the property of the project boundary. C, all existing and proposed structures, rights-of-ways, utility easements, and above and below ground facilities and utilities within the project scale. D, all proposed and existing public and private access roads and turnout locations, including dimensions. E, topographic lines showing, should be lines, showing the existing topography of the project and surrounding area. F, fencing detail. G, a complete electrical layout of the entire system, including substations, transmissions, collector and gathering lines, and other ancillary facility components. 8, drainage, erosion, dust control, grading, and vegetation removal plan prepared by a Wyoming licensed engineer, which includes the following. A, existing and proposed contours. B, existing wetlands and floodways. C, water management structures. D, drainage flow direction. E, effect on downstream and upstream properties. F, erosion mitigation and runoff control. And G, dust control plan. Number 9, waste management plan. A waste management plan that includes the inventory of estimated solid waste to be generated and the proposed disposal program for the construction, operation, and eventual decommissioning of the proposed facility. 10, the reclamation and decommissioning plan. Describe the decommissioning and final land reclamation to be followed after the anticipated useful life or abandonment or termination of the project, including evidence of proposed commitments with affected parties, county, any lessor or property owner, etc. That ensure proper final reclamation of the solar energy system. Bond shall name Natrona County as beneficiary. Environmental analysis, the absence of a required state or federal agency involvement review for the project, such as the NEPA. The Planning and Zoning Commission and BOCC may require an environmental report in accordance with the solar facility and WF regulations prepared by a licensed professional. 12, visual impacts. The appearance and scenic view sheds. Potential visual impacts may be caused by components of this project, such as, but not limited to, mirrors, WF towers, cooling towers, steam plumes, above ground electrical lines, accessory structures, access roads, utility trenches, and installations and alterations to vegetation. Those projects that are within scenic view shed utilize reflective components, for example, exposed mirrors, shall provide a view shed analysis of the project, including visual simulations of the planned structures. You know what, I've just... Yeah, we're going to jump to here. Number of visual stimulations shall be sufficient to provide adequate analysis of the visual impacts of the proposal, which shall be from no less than 10 vantage points that together provide a view from all sides of the project. The county may require analysis from significantly more vantage points, such as different distances and sensitive locations. The applicant shall approve an analysis from the solar glare hazard analysis software for PV systems and provide qualified assessment of when and where the glare will occur throughout the year to nearby properties and public roadways. If glare is predicted, the applicant shall provide mitigation measures to address the impacts of solar glare. Mitigation measures may include and are not limited to textured glass, anti-reflective coatings, screening, angling of solar PV modules in a manner that reduces glare to the surrounding area. 14, a traffic study if deemed necessary by the county planning department. 15, provided evidence sufficient for the BOCC determined to the proposed facility as adequate legal access. The application shall describe below private roadways within the facility will be marked as private roadways and shall acknowledge that the Natrona County is not required to repair, maintain, or accept any dedication of the private roadway to public use. 16, the transportation plan for the construction and operation phases indicated by description of the map and roads of the project will utilize during the construction and operation / maintenance phases of the project, along with their existing service and condition. Specify any new road and proposed upgrade or improvements needed to the existing road system to serve the project. If significant impacts to the transportation system are anticipated, the county may require financial guarantees to ensure proper repair, restoration of roadways or other infrastructure damaged or degraded during construction or dismantling of the project. 17. Notice of material rights. Applicants shall certify that the notice has been provided to the record owners and claimants of mineral rights located on or under the lands where the proposed solar facility will be constructed. Such notice shall contain the location of proposed project underground wiring and may include notice by publication. The certification of notice shall be provided with the application, and the notice shall comply with all standards and requirements adopted by the Wyoming Industrial Siting Council. Staff comments. The Sheriff's Department and Emergency Management states that he does not have any issue with the plan they have provided. Road and Bridge Department. Road and Bridge has concerns when it comes to transporting heavy loads across the bridge at Natrona over Casper Creek. Mr. Hagler says, I spoke to a representative from Haystack Solar, and that time they indicated they would be using the Tulsa Bypass Road east of our bridge. I do not see any detail as to how they think they will get heavy loads to the site. I would like to see a detailed mapping of the road routes and specifically the areas that they might be using coming up on the Natrona Road. They will need to apply for road cut approach permits to come off the county road. Also, when they speak of improving roadways, does that include Natrona County Road? Natrona Bridge was derated by YDOT, and they are aware of this. And I will add here, I'm not, because that's not part of the report. It was received today. There hasn't been a response to these questions by Haystack. GIS, I have finished looking through the application. I haven't finished looking through the application yet, but these are some of my questions which will be answered in their application. What about an alternative route to the project area? Is there another way in or out for people down on Pine Mountain? This is probably more of a concern for during construction. Will people in Pine Mountain be delayed or stuck from getting out onto the highway if they have to evacuate? And here are some of the review comments again from GIS. Can we receive this site plan when the, let me try that again. Can we receive the planned site plan and then the completed as-built, both in digital and paper format? In digital format, we want it to meet the regional CAD template standards, NAD 83/2011, state plane, Wyoming East Central coordinate in US feet. Could the plans / as-builts include northing and eastings and a section corners and or quarter corners? And again, I have comments from Haystack on that in the affirmative. Then GIS went on to provide a couple of links to some of those standards. If they have names for the access roads, building points, and the project area, we want anything they can provide for attribution. This would be beneficial data for emergency services. A note on page 341 in 6.2 atmospheric conditions. The wind speeds seem underreported. On page 418, under the solar glare analysis report, is noted that there is pilot view restriction. Could more information be provided for the airport runways? On page 455, under the traffic analysis report, it is noted that Natrona County Road CR 209 intersects with Stoneacre Road, and it doesn't actually. Natrona road appears to go 7 miles-ish south and does not connect to Stonica Road. There does appear to be a private extension of Natrona Road going through Triangle F Ranches, State BLM and Wild Horse Basin Ranch lands. If an easement could be obtained that would allow access via this route, that would provide another ingress-egress route for the people in the Pine Mountain and possibly the project site. On page 531, the bypass easement is noted. Should this easement be recorded, filed in records, or do they provide this information to planning? Just a question. That was all of GIS's report questions. Health Department, no comment received. Fire District, no comment received. Conservation District, no comment received. Staff findings. In the case of SF 24-01, the solar facility is a permitted use in RAM zoning. However, WS 18-5-502 requires an applicant for the solar facility to obtain a permit from the BOCC. The list of requirements as stated in section 5.09 of the 2022 zoning resolution have all been met with the application. They've all been addressed. Staff recommends approval and a do pass recommendation to the Board of County Commissioner that includes conditions based upon staff comments received above. Further, staff asks that the forthcoming application requirements, information, and approval within the required Wyoming Industrial Siting Act application and report be provided to the Board of County Commissioners as conditions to the approval of this application. Public comment. As of the date of writing this, we had received 6 written comments in opposition to the solar farm. Staff did send notices to surrounding neighbors, and I will also note, it's not in here, but even though the city of Casper is outside the 20-mile region, they have been contacted and understand the project. So, Town of Mills just fits in the 20-mile region. They've also received comments. Recommendations. The Planning and Zoning Commission may, of course, approve or deny the requested solar permit after consideration of public testimony and all the facts of the case as presented during the public hearing. We propose that you enter a motion to vote to recommend approval or denial a request of the solar facility. And I'll just add at the end there that we find that the application is very complete. Over it more than what Natrona County requires, because it also addresses the Industrial Siting Act. So with that, I answer any questions. Oh, one more thing is, would you like me to go through the comments received to the staff comments that we received today?
As I understand it, these are Haystack's response to
Yes.
the county's,
Yes,
and in particular, Road and Bridge, it looked like.
yes. I can
I
go
guess there
through.
was one thing that jumped out at me. There was no alternative ingress, egress being proposed.
No.
So it's a one-way in, one-way out. Is that what we got?
Yes, yes. And it's the second way out would be pretty onerous, to get, so.
It's a big site.
It's a big site. It's a very big site. One thing I would like to add to is on, here's a map of where the facility is, just south and west of the town site of Natrona. There's a little pulling in, you can see some of the topography of that site. In this, I didn't find an actual legend on this, but I take that the blue areas to be the solar panels and the orange areas to be the battery systems. Well, they're all solar panels. Okay, all right. Okay, okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay, and I will also add that the panels themselves track the sun, They'll be pedestal mounted and track the sun, so they won't be that flat ocean looking type thing that you normally see. They'll be tipping with the sun and following the sun around as it goes through the day, so.
An awful lot of information.
Lots of information.
So, discussion, or questions for Mr. Gustafson? Chad?
Yeah, I have a question about, you'd mentioned, one of the comments for Road and Bridge, is that they would need a permit to go around that bridge, that has been, for whatever reason, it's not able to handle the traffic. So it looks like on the map, there's a road that runs parallel to that. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay, so they would need a permit.
I think that's more coordination with Road and Bridge, just
Okay.
not using the substandard bridge.
Okay,
Or I should say the wore out.
but to
bridge.
use that parallel road, they would need a permit to do that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Sean, just a quick question. In the packet, it said on page 531, there's a bypass easement is noted, and is that solidified or it's a, so does Haystack have an easement for that road?
I believe that is correct, that they do, and the question really was, should it be recorded? I do believe it should be,
The easement is in place.
yes.
Thank you.
Robert? I'm good. Sean, I have a couple of questions.
Mhm.
Is this land going to be purchased outright, or is this going to be leased land?
This is leased land.
So Haystack will be leasing from private property owners, the whole
Yes, that-
2,010 acres.
Yes.
The staff comments, I guess one that jumped out at me a bit was that Natrona County Fire had not responded.
Mhm.
Why was that, do you know?
I do not.
Seemed like that would be something we'd want to know.
We can reach out to them and make sure we've got their official response.
I would assume through that state of Wyoming industrial siting process, YDOT will be drawn in as well.
Yes.
So I would, I guess I would imagine they would have a lot to say about
They
Highway
wouldn't-
2026 in particular.
Yes, and I think the traffic study that's included in the package will, I won't say that it's, I don't know if it's been reviewed by YDOT as of yet, but that would be what they'd be requiring, and then anything that may be needed as identified in that study.
I didn't take the time to study, but what would the view from Highway 2026 be? Generally, do you know?
Well, generally, with everything basically facing to the south, that's, I don't know that you'd see very much from 2026. Did one of your views go through there? Right. Yeah.
No, the max height is 12
12.
feet. That's a max still, and that's pretty conservative. Most likely around 10 feet, and that's over half a mile, or about a half a mile from the highway. So it's very minimal.
Okay.
And within that application, you can see we took, I think, at least 15 different points and simulated what the site would look like
Okay.
from those different
Yep.
locations.
Right, you got something?
Yeah, just one more question, Sean. In the application, there were several pages about, in regard to the traffic study and turning off Highway 20 onto the Natrona County Road. And there were a lot of pages of information. But did it appear that, I'm not sure, did YDOT not have an objection to leaving the road as is and not adding a turning lane?
If I am correct, YDOT hasn't weighed in on that yet. Because that'll be part of the industrial siting permitting that comes next here.
That would,
So,
yeah,
Will be required.
yes, and they will be required to go through, part of the industrial siting permit that they need will require YDOT's approval. And YDOT will then be taking a good hard look at that traffic study and deciding if it meets their needs.
just reading through it quickly, 530 pages, it looked like there would not be a requirement for a turning lane to be added where on that
Right.
intersection of Highway 20 and Natrona County Road.
Yes.
And I just have real reservations about how that would work with so many people going to that site every morning, every afternoon. I don't know that that'd be a very safe situation.
And I'm working from memory here, but there are two aspects to this. There's the construction activities, which there is quite a lot of traffic. And that they will be under their own special construction traffic control plan. But the maintenance, once the facility is up and running, the traffic's pretty light at that point in time, so.
Yeah, and I understand that part, but for the 15 months when construction's taking place, and if I read it, it said in the packet there'd be 2 semis turning off onto that road every 2 hours. Well, that's what the packet said.
Yeah.
So I think about 2 semi loads every hour, a few hundred people reporting to that job site. Even if it's through the construction phase, that's a 15-month time period where that road's going to be really, really busy. And I think there needs to be some sort of plan put in place to deal with that. I don't know that I really read that in the packet the way it was presented.
I don't believe a construction traffic control plan was presented in its entirety, but yes, it
I
does
don't
need
know
to be
quite,
addressed.
I guess I'm not sure what that included. Maybe the applicant can explain that a little bit, but
Yeah.
that would be, I mean, short of people standing out on the highway flagging and stopping and directing traffic, I'm not sure what that would be.
That is certainly an option, and that would be, from my experience, years ago, I did work for YDOT as an engineer, many years ago. That will be worked out as construction nears, and there will be an official traffic plan that YDOT has approved to handle all that construction traffic. And most likely it would be, in my opinion, it would be temporary. You know, we wouldn't build a bunch of permanent widening to the road and things like that, but we would build in some temporary things that would handle that traffic safely.
Okay.
So Sean, again, this is an awful lot of information, and you read through a number of pages of fine print that we have to put, that and I would assume the board here has to put faith in you and staff that you've reviewed this stuff. I read in your culmination of things, as I understand it, that everything that's required in our county 2022 zoning resolution is met by those 533 pages of information provided by Haystack.
In my opinion, yes.
Okay, well, that's helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sean. At this time, we'd like the applicant to please come forward and fill us in on anything we aren't made aware of so far.
My name is Dale Harris.
And Mr. Chair, we do, I'm not certain if he was planning on actually participating, but we have Ryan Manook on the phone, so I will turn that mic on in case he has anything to add.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if Ryan could introduce himself afterwards. You've already heard a lot about the project, so I'll just tell you about. My name is Dale Harris. Address is 2 South Biscayne, Miami, Florida. I'm a representative of EG Haystack Solar, which is owned by Infinity Global. We are an independent power producer with over 900 megawatts of operational assets across the United States. We have over 15 gigawatts in development. And our goal as an IPP, we're a long-term owner and operator of these projects. So we don't just come in and build them and then sell them off. Our goal is to build community relations. So that's why we're here today. And we've been working with Shelby. And thank you, Mr. Holbrook, as well, for providing us all the details to meet your guys' regulations. I know that a 533-page application is a lot to go through. So I appreciate y'all's time and consideration of this project. If you guys have any questions, please let me know.
I didn't catch your name again. Could I,
My name is Dale Harris.
Dale Harris? And
Yes, sir.
Dan, and I believe the gentleman on the,
That is going to be Ryan Wonk. He is one of our consultants. He's an entitlement consultant working for Jacobs, assisting us on this project. So they are not the owners of the project. We are going to be the owners and operators.
questions for Mr. Harris? Okay.
Yep, I've got a couple questions. I know you probably can't give us all the details about it, but could you speak a little bit to your power purchase agreement or the process, or what's the latest on getting, somebody to come in and purchase your power? How can we be assured that you are going to find, some buyers for the energy that you'll be producing?
So right now, we do not have a power purchase agreement. This project is unlikely to be financed or built if we do not have an agreement in place to be able to sell the power. So that is one of the things in which we will be working on, over the next couple of years to make sure that this project is successful. And going through this process is part of what helps us secure power purchase agreements.
And in your experience, once you have the permitting taken care of and you've got a green light on the project, is that typically when you start getting, more negotiations and interest from outside the purchasers?
That's correct.
Okay. Could you also talk a little bit about the decommissioning process and some of the triggers that you use to decommission the project? If it doesn't work out, if the agreement with the landowner somehow, goes away.
So when you say decommissioning the project, as in the project has already been constructed?
Yes,
And then removing the project.
that's right.
So if the project's been constructed, it is most likely going to last for the lifetime of the project, which is going to be 30 to 40 years, unless there's an act of God that was to destroy the project. And if that was the case, then insurance would take over, and we would decommission the project accordingly, according to our decommissioning and reclamation plan,
Okay.
which we will have to be bonded.
Okay. It's what are the plan, again, it's a lot of information, but what are some of those triggers? If you don't, if something happens to your power purchase agreement, for example, and you can't sell the power, are there triggers associated with that lack of, energy, you can't sell it, so it's just sitting out there. So do you have anything associated with that in terms of triggering the decommissioning process?
So the main triggers for the decommissioning project is going to be that the project life has ended, right? That it is the 40-year lifespan of the project is up, and we decommission it. The idea of the power not being sold being a trigger is very unlikely due to the fact it's not going to be built without there being an agreement. And most of those power purchase agreements are 15 to 20 years long. And after that, there's a lot of people we could sell the power to at a reasonable price.
One more question, and I'll turn it over. This has already been mentioned, but could you speak to fire risk? I just did some just some independent research coming into this. There's not a lot of, it looks like, data on the potential for fire from these solar farms. So I'm just curious, what is your take, and what sort of mitigation do you have in place? I saw some of it in the plan, but outside of where the batteries are going to be housed, what sort of mitigation do you have in place? This is a sort of remote location, there's probably not a lot of, groups that could respond to the fire. So what kind of risk are we looking at in terms of fire here?
So the actual panels themselves, they're all solid state electronics. So there's not going to be anything leaking from them. It's very unlikely for any of them to cause a fire. We do have a weed management and vegetation plan in place that's going to make sure that there isn't a lot of overgrown vegetation that could cause for there to be a fire. We're also, working with landowners and community members to discuss adding agriculture into our facility by doing sheep farming or sheep grazing, which that would assist in reducing the potential fire. Other than that, there is a fire safety plan that is put in place. We'll be working with the local fire department and making sure that they're equipped to handle any sort of potential fire. There's also software that monitors these sites. So if there's any sort of issue, we're notified of it immediately. We can shut down sections of the facility to make sure that there's no electrical risk.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Just a follow-up question on the decommissioning. Did it say in the application if the site does not operate for 1 year, it automatically goes into the decommissioning?
If the site does not operate for 1 year.
Right, if it's idle for 1 year.
That it would go into decommissioning.
Correct.
I would have to refer that to Ryan, who he could look at the decommissioning and reclamation plan. I'm not aware of that.
Okay. I thought I read that in the application. One other question on the solar glare. There were like 3 levels, like a high, medium, low, and I think there were 3 points where the glare was high, but I didn't quite understand what the difference between the high, medium, and low designations were, if you will.
So my understanding of the solar glare analysis, and I'm not the engineer who performed that analysis, was that there was no major glare that would be coming from the site that would be of any concern to neighbors or to the FAA.
So I got a couple of questions, and they might be considered follow-up to what you've already been asked, but we actually had another solar site show up in the last 2 or 3 years. And as I recall, Rocky Mountain Power had issued a request for proposals for renewable energy, wind energy, solar, maybe there was something else in there. Is that what's going on here? Is Rocky Mountain Power requesting a proposal and you guys are responding to it with this site and preparing a 533-page report in hopes of having a sale agreement with Rocky Mountain Power?
I cannot specifically comment on the sale of the power. There are a lot of people who want to purchase solar power all over the United States. Rocky Mountain Power could be one of those individuals. But as of right now, we don't have any particular person or entity in mind.
Okay, just right off the bat, access would appear to be one access for 2010, which is 3.5 square miles. It would appear to me that that's going to take some extra looking at. Chad, I think, was talking about fire impacts, and as you've seen, you're from Miami, we're in an absolute tinderbox situation here, and a fire can start and take off and come at you at 60 miles an hour. What would that do to your site if a rangeland fire swept upon you?
So I do want to clarify, I'm from Denton, Texas. Our headquarters is going to be in Miami.
Okay.
Just want to specify that.
Okay.
But as far as a rangeland fire, I mean, as owners of these projects, the last thing we want to happen is this project get burned, or for there to be any sort of natural disaster that destroys it. So we're going to do everything in our power to prevent there from being any sort of damage. That goes back to the vegetation and weed management plan. We're going to try to make sure that there is not a lot of vegetation in that area that can actually be burned, and we can discuss additional measures.
That's a lot of mowing, or a lot of sheep, 3.5 square miles.
We prefer to use sheep. Makes it a dual purpose. And with regards to the access route, if any chance you could bring up the image of the site and show the current access, because I've been working on this project for almost 2 years now, and the access is quite difficult. But there are additional access routes that we could consider.
And I guess I'm talking about access for emergency services, is, in particular, is what I'm thinking of.
And that's exactly what I wanted to possibly discuss. We could look at having kind of a north access. As you see, there is BLM land that is directly north. But we could discuss working with our landowner to have an emergency access route that would be north of the site, that could come directly off of the highway. But as you see, there's a large wetland feature, so the main access to the site can't be through the north, because Army Corps of Engineers would not be very happy with us.
So I guess I was just thinking that a loop road around the entire site would be,
So once you're inside the site, there is going to be access roads all throughout the site to be able to get to any part of it.
okay. Okay, well, that's my concern is, and we probably would hear from that from the fire department when they hopefully take a look at this.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Harrison.
All right. Thank y'all.
All right, so we ready to move into the public hearing? We now declare the public hearing open for consideration of SFS 24-01, and that is the request by E.G. Haystack Solar LLC for a solar facility of, as we've been discussing, west of Casper in central Natrona County. So at this time, we'd ask all those in favor of the application to come forward, give us your name and address, and let us know your sentiment for or against. We're asking for those in favor of at this time. Good evening.
Good evening. Russell Kiltz, 1675 Sussex Road, Casey, Wyoming. I'm the landowner and I'm in favor of the project.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Kiltz? Thank you again. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the application, would you please come forward? Mr. Harris, you might want to come up and just say if that's what you want to do.
Dale Harris, 2 South Biscayne Boulevard, Miami, Florida. I'm in favor of the project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the application, would you please come forward? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of? Seeing none. I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is Ryan went up with Jacob. My address is 2550 University Avenue, St. Paul, Minnesota. Again, Jacob is the consultant company that helps Infinity Haystack Solar LLC with their application. I've glare or glare that would impact visualization of where folks are headed. They did that by designing the project such that the tilt of the panels does not reflect light on receptors. And then there was a question about decommissioning and decommissioning triggers. Again, Haystack will decommission the project in line with what's outlined by the Industrial Siting Act, and the question of if the project is dormant for a year, what we state in the decommissioning plan is that once we have a trigger for decommissioning, the project would be decommissioned within 1 year. So that is the statement that we made in the decommission. Again, I speak in favor. If there's any other questions that I can answer, I'm more than happy to.
I got a question for you, just so I understand. Who prepared the 533-page report? Was that you? Was that Jacobs?
Yes, correct. Jacobs assisted Haystack with preparing that application. We worked very closely with Haystack and their engineers, and Jacobs, we have a team of experts in any number of different disciplines, visual impacts, decommissioning, traffic and transportation. So many of the analyses that went into this application were done by a team, were done by teams at Jacobs.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Winook? Thank you. So anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the application, would you come forward, please? Seeing none, anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application, would you come forward, please?
Could you pull that map up with the blue?
Yeah.
Do you remember that one? Okay, let's start by this. Judy Jones, 24-125 Highway West, 2026. Okay, here's the part here. That's my. It's gonna be right in my backyard. My auto reduction yard that I had to drain all the battery fluids out of my cars, all the oil, and fill the berm because of the size of it, right? Why would we let this go in then? I wanted the chemicals involved with defrosting. Now, here's something I've learned. Defrosting panels is antifreeze. Our water table out there, my well is at 40 feet. Tammy, I think she's got 3 of them, 3 wells at 40 feet. So anything spillage that goes on the ground is going in our aquifer. We don't get city water out there. All we got is our water that we drilled. And I spent $10,000 last summer drilling a well. Okay, this is right next door to me. When I open up my back door, that's what I'm gonna see. And the whole point of moving out there and doing my thing out there was to get away from people and get away from things, right? So we're gonna put this in. This is, I'll go back to my sheet. I'll go to my sheet because I just get too excited. Okay, the first point on this, the application, you said 500, I know I'm getting dentures, this is horrible. The application is 533 pages. I had to do a FOIA from Shelby to even get a copy of it. These people probably haven't even seen it yet, you know? How many have seen it? See, okay, so that right there starts your ticking that you need to give them 30 days to read this stupid thing. Me and Rose went through it till 3 o'clock in the morning. And here's something: sustainable development, circle economy, sustainable mobility, water treatment, AI intelligence. When I hear these words, I know it's never good for the people. Okay, this outfit, E.G. Haystack, Stat, and the Jacobs, in their pages on their website. They're globalists, guys. Do you understand what that means for us? They're globalists. Agenda 21, their crap comes right out of a United Nations Agenda 21. I can bring you the pages that'll say exactly what those guys say on their websites. Okay, secondly, you guys need to put that, their application online so people can pull it off and read it. Then you better do the 30-day proper notice. I'm just tired of us being the energy for other states. The state's gonna get the money from this. We're not gonna get anything. Our power rates aren't gonna go down or anything. This is gonna generate energy, go to California, go to Washington, and it's killing good rangeland. Pull that map up of what the range looks like out there, that first one.
Ms.
Okay.
Jones, your 3 minutes is up.
Okay, you see that green? That's water. That's water.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in opposition?
Rosemary Saban, Natrona County resident. Mr. Chairman, am I to gather that this board has not read all 533 pages from your comments? Is that accurate?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Are we willing to have a repeat of the 2022 zoning resolution rewrite where it wasn't read by this board and the county commission? I'm asking, seriously. The public has not received 30 days notice and a response period. This packet required a FOIA request yesterday for public viewing. Since solar and wind projects are heavily subsidized by the public, I feel it warrants the public feedback and consideration. It will also not reduce the energy rates that we're looking at from Rocky Mountain Power in the near future. The proposed location of this is on the Casper Creek drainage, which feeds Goldeneye Reservoir. It's also, the water table is 45 feet deep, and you're gonna hear from more than just Judy that that's what the water table and the wells are on multiple wells. 500-foot setback is my understanding from Highway 2026, and as you heard, Ms. Jones was required to build a berm to cover up the unsightly mess of that, remove batteries from her cars, drain the oil so that there would be no contamination leaking into the ground. So I would expect that something like this should be held to the same standard. The purpose of zoning is to limit the financial burden on the people. That's why we have zoning in place. And since this could have negative environmental and financial consequences, I feel strongly that this needs to be tabled until the public has time to review this packet and we can submit any written testimony before this goes before the commission, if you would, please. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Kelly Birch. I reside at 8227 33 Mile Road, and I am the current landowner on the east side of the proposed solar property. And no one from Haystack Solar has contacted me about an alternative entrance or access to the solar site. Solar energy should not be considered clean energy. Tons of highly toxic compounds are produced during the manufacturing phase of solar panels. If Natrona County decides to get into the solar energy business, then they need to be required to get involved in the upcoming waste crisis created by dead and/or broken solar panels. It is common knowledge that solar panels are very susceptible to wind and hail damage, or simply they stop producing electricity near the end of their life, which is under 20 years. Currently, only 10% of solar panels are being recycled, which that means a lot of trash is created. Solar energy should not be considered affordable energy when compared to our traditional natural gas, coal, nuclear, and hydro energies. This explains why solar energy companies have difficulty in finding potential buyers for their product. It also explains when Natrona County granted Dino Solar Company a conditional use permit back in 2020 for a solar panel facility west of Bar None, nothing has been done because they cannot find a buyer for the solar energy. Should Natrona County consider permitting a second solar energy facility, I ask that a proper mitigation plan be in place to deal with the many issues concerning trash, fire, weeds, and dust. Neighboring property owners should not be adversely affected in any way by this solar farm. The mitigation plan needs to state that the solar farm will have no physical impact on surrounding land. There needs to be a bond in place for failures at the facility, such as fire or meltdowns of the storage battery facility. The solar facility should be required to have sufficient insurance in place in case of an on or off-site incident. And lastly, I believe the solar company should be required to maintain an on-site and perimeter monitoring water well to ensure water quality with no contamination of surface or groundwater. My cows, which have previously enjoyed their pleasant home on the range, will now be forced to eat dust rather than grass. And as a private landowner, I'm confident that you, Natrona County, will do the right thing and protect my rights as a landowner in Natrona County.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Michelle Sleep. I live at 7907 Natrona Road, Natrona, Wyoming. There is just, we talked about heavy traffic. There's a mine back there. Semi-trucks go out of there daily also. I've drove down 2026, trying to make a left-hand turn onto Natrona Road, pulling a trailer. I have cars wanting to pass me on the right, on the left side, not on the right side, on the shoulder. So traffic's going to be an issue. When we had this bad winter, we had no way out. We had no way in because the bridge washed out. It washed out the side road. There's animals back there. Tons of elk, tons of deer, tons of antelope that graze on that land over there. I've got pictures to prove it. I had videos of elk over there and deer and antelope. No rancher should be forced to give up their cows and go to sheep because sheep is the answer to keep vegetation low. There's a fire. The residents on Natrona Road will have no way out. None. The animals will have no way out. We've already experienced the bridge and the side road washing out. Heavy equipment even on that side road going out day after day after day, and between the mine and the semi-trucks that come through the mine will destroy it. It's just very built a little. There's creeks that run through there, and the Casper Creek, I was told that it runs even by the roller rink. It comes into Casper, that waterway. So as a resident of Natrona County that lives on Natrona Road, I do not want the traffic. I do not want solar panels in my backyard. I would be the closest to that. So I'm saying no, and hell to the hell no. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rita Spiva, and I live at 4249 Cattle Trail, which is about a mile off of 2026 past the airport. That is west of the airport. And I heard several things that I'd like to talk to about this young man here. I think most of our fires out in Wyoming are caused by lightning, and having sheep there to eat the weeds isn't going to stop it. And also, it sounded like you were planning on spraying for weeds, which would ruin the ground if that thing is disabled. I've got some pictures here of, if I can get by, I can't get by, of some of the livestock, some of the animals. The Pine Mountain is out there less than a mile from where this site is going to be, just the foot of it. And there's a lot of elk, deer, antelope, as they say, and sage grouse, which is now a big issue in Wyoming. And let's see, another thing I was going to tell you is that road, 2026, I don't know how many of you guys have a reason to drive on it very often, but I live off of it, and I go to church at Powder River, which is 25 miles from my house. And I personally have been run off that road 3 times trying to turn off onto a main road to get to my house, because that is, well, there's a lot of people going to Yellowstone all the time that drive that road, and a lot of them from Colorado. Excuse people from Colorado, but they drive like crazy. And also during the school year, there's people from Riverton and everywhere else going to sporting events here in Casper, and it's crazy. That road it's dangerous now, and if you put all those trucks and stuff on it, it's going to be really dangerous, and I don't think people need to get killed over it. They can build that solar thing somewhere where there isn't such an issue about that. And also, people live real close around there. One of my friends lives right across the road from that. And, that's going to cut down on their property values. That's not fair, just so somebody can make a little money. But anyway, I'll go back to my list here. It's a blight on the countryside. I think just like those wind generators are, not generators, those windmills are, how ugly they look out there at 20 Mile Hill. I was shocked when I saw that. And that's what that's going to be. It's going to be a blight to our country. And another thing is, as you guys can see those pictures of elk, Wyoming is known for its world-class hunting and livestock viewing, and that is going to hurt it. We don't have any right to do that to the elk. They deserve a place to live too. I don't even think we need the wind farm, but solar panels. But let's see what else. I got myself a little list here. I kind of got off of it, but and also Casper Creek's there, and several people have touched on that. When the people are building it, very well they're going to be dropping stuff in there, and it'll get polluted with all kinds of stuff, and we don't want that. And also, if they do, they could interfere with the drainage in that, and that would take away from I can't even think what I'm trying to say. It would take away from runoff into Casper Creek, which probably gets some of its water from there. You can see in there, you can see the drainage, how it goes. It'll be right over it. And of course, there's going to be dust and blowing dirt across the highway, which could also cause more accidents.
Ms. Spiva, you've reached your 3 minutes.
I'm sorry, what?
You've reached your 3 minutes.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, guys. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Stacy Schmid. I live at 16,002 Beck Road in the boom town of Natrona, Wyoming. And my background is agriculture, but I am also co-owner and operator of a small solar company here in Wyoming, longstanding, 18 years. We were not notified of this project whatsoever, so we had very limited time to gather information. But first, we believe in responsible solaring. And what that means is using solar at the source of power needed. Megawatts are just not that answer. But who am I to tell somebody what to do with their land? I ask myself that, very seriously. I hear the landowner is a wonderful person. So where I went next with this is it good for my neighbor? Is it good for my community? Is it good for my state? The answer to all of these were no upon my research. I also asked, how will this affect our small businesses in Wyoming? The negative impacts from construction alone will cripple hundreds of businesses in Wyoming, including farmers and ranchers. Highway 2026 is a major road in Wyoming, as you all know. So that's how we transport laborers and goods. And so we're worried about this, business, but also personal travel. Megawatt fields are fundamentally untruthful, which makes solar look bad in general. So this is not going to help your small solar businesses across the country, period. And on a side note, it's going to be an eyesore. I know they mentioned half of a mile off the road. Well, you know how far we can see in Wyoming. That's what makes it so beautiful. So how will this affect our community environment? As a NABCEP certified solar installer, I understand construction of solar arrays. Large-scale solar done in this manner can be detrimental to our Casper Creek drainage, which many have mentioned. Just one note, the selenium that will be brought forth that would normally be stable in the land will be a primary pollutant. And that can come, I don't know what happened to my microphone there, guys. It can become airborne in Wyoming, let alone, water table on the land, et cetera. That is a major threat to the watershed, to wildlife, to the livestock, and our citizens of Natrona. And that is only one point. Now, it'll also adversely affect this land for hundreds of years, even after decommissioning. The land will no longer be suitable for agriculture. The University of Wyoming states that Wyoming agriculture is responsible for 77% of direct economic output, and that's due to livestock in Wyoming. That's pretty awesome. We're an ag state, so we really need to take care of this land. This 2,000 plus acres is valuable ag land that cannot be recouped. Land,
Ms. Schmidt,
they don't
you
make...
reached your 3-minute
Oh,
limit.
shoot.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you, but I did want to say that as a solar professional, if you have any questions as far as regarding an actual solar panel, battery technologies, we're happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mark Schmid, 16,004 Beck Road, Natrona, Wyoming. I'm the other owner of Range Solar and Wind here in Wyoming, and we really keep up with what's going on in the solar industry. And one of the things we've seen throughout, especially in Nevada, California, is when one field goes in, it just opens the door for more and more fields to come in. And it makes it a lot easier for the future fields to go through everything, because once it's been approved, once that's approved, it just makes it easier for the next guy to come in. We do have several customers that are from Nevada, California, that have actually left those states because of all the solar fields that are being put into that. And cosmetically, I mean, we have hundreds of arrays throughout the entire state that are 12 feet high, and you can see a 12-foot array from a long ways away, more than a half mile. So That's about all I have. Thank you guys very much for your time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello there. My name is Jeanette Ward. I live at 1600 East 26th Street in Casper. And I respectfully ask that the decision be delayed on this so that the public has more time to consider it for the following reasons. That 500-page document was not published for the public to see, and the public ought to be able to look at that for a while before a decision on this is made. Solar is heavily subsidized by taxpayers, so it's not an industry that can stand on its own profitability without being subsidized. Also, I wonder if the public is aware that in March of 2024, a Japanese utility bought a 40% interest in Infinity Global, so it is 40% owned by a Japanese company. Finally, I have a question about what happens when the inverter malfunctions. So inverters convert the DC output of solar panels into AC power. And if an inverter malfunctions, it can cause fires. And I wouldn't want to see another fire disaster like is happening with the Elk Fire. So please, again, I just ask that the public be given more time to consider. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Donna Vold Larson. I'm a rancher at 11225 West Holland Road. We own a ranch north across Highway 2026 from the named site. We are mostly concerned about how the county would manage an inevitable battery storage fire. I am submitting articles to support the fire danger. In the solar facility application, you will find under the emergency response plan the serious risks to health and wild land fires. You can't fight these battery fires with water. They create a hydrogen gas which is toxic. It is recommended that they just burn. Due to the proposed location of this facility, the response time for help in the case of a battery fire is not immediate. Once again, because you can't use water to extinguish the battery fire, you have to let them burn. It could cause a massive land wildfire immediately. Thank you very much.
Howdy, my name is Mark Reed. I'm an electrical and automation contractor, and I live just east of here. When they start digging on that place, they're gonna blast my ranch with dirt and trash, and will until it's done. I don't know if you guys saw the Cheyenne project, but they decimated the land to make this happen, and that dirt flew as far, went past the gas plant, coated everything, trashed everything, and that gal makes a point. The kind of fires that would come off a heavy metal or battery fire would be at best horrifically toxic, and it's probably going to get somebody killed. The amount of toxic foam you would have to use to even contain the fire is going to destroy that creek. And it's going to destroy Goldeneye. It's going to destroy my place. We don't make money on the ranch because of our taxes. I keep working to keep the ranch going. And if there's one incident out there, my land is going to be useless and worthless. And I don't think maybe enough consideration has been put in place to the hardware and personnel that you would need to even begin to put out a fire out there. And the battery systems are fragile. Any exposure to oxygen, they'll auto ignite. So to pretend that a fire is not a realistic possibility, it's a probability. Like the gal said, in inverters, if you have an inverter on that scale that lights off, it's going to be incredible. So it's not just physical fires, it's arc flashes, it's other conductive materials. The government right now has no plan on how to deal with the waste from solar panels. From a particulate perspective, if you think asbestos is bad, you should see what glass is. Small scale solar applications, we work on them, we install them, they work great. But this is a pipe dream. And like the other government subsidized projects, the minute the subsidies end, so will these. And if your company goes belly up tomorrow, nobody is going to come around to clean this mess out. We've all been out hunting and we've seen abandoned trash, old oil field trash out on the prairie. We've all heard stories about magical P&A wells. When this thing goes belly up, which it needs subsidies, so it will, that's going to be a nightmare. We have electrical contractors that come out to inspect power lines, and they absolutely did not respect the landowners. The last pair of electrical contractors that came out through our place physically broke open gates, left them broke open, and then when I visited with the sheriff's department about prosecuting them, the sheriff's department answer was, well, you didn't tell them to stay off that particular part of the property, and they really didn't break the gates open too much. There's nobody that knows how to work on these. And I don't think most people have no idea how dangerous that kind of DC voltage and current is. So I'm, at the very least, put it up to public commentary, but to pretend that we have the manpower or the personnel to even begin to take on a project like this is a grab at subsidy money. At the very least, wait till the end of the election to see what subsidies are left. Thank you.
My name is Dale Sleep. I live at 7907 Natrona Road in Natrona. And I deny this because, like everybody's been saying about the explosions, well, there's 3 pipelines that run through there. You get a battery blow up, affects a natural gas pipeline, then you have a bigger catastrophe. And there's only one entrance to the families that live down Natrona Road. There's a fire out there, we're stuck. There's no way to get out. Even if they did put one on the east side of this facility, if there's a fire there, there's still no way out. So and the wildlife. A year ago, 150 elk ran across the road right through there. That's going to devastate that herd. Thank you.
Evening, gentlemen.
Hi.
My name's David Wymeister. Excuse me. Live at 760 Landmark Drive. I have shared interest on Big Cheese Road. I, being an ex-wildland firefighter, would be totally against this as well, due to the simple fact that we have problems fighting what fires we do have around here because everything just takes off. And when you start adding combustibles and toxic fumes and stuff like that, you're talking special teams have to come in with hazmat suits, and it's starting to start costing the county money, even more money than just going out with a tender truck. The wildlife, the eagles that fly out there, I've seen them. You know, they don't have the same view we do. They got higher views. They get the glare. They see things, you know, the wind farm that they started doing out there in Glen Rock. They ended up killing off a couple of nests worth of bald eagles down there that they ended up having to kill off. I mean, it's just not just us as people here right now. We're talking like generations worth of people and generations worth of wildlife. I just ask that you guys take the time and look at all angles of this and not be blinded by certain glamorous, well, you know, this could do this for this county. You know, we're talking your great grandkids that might get affected by this. And if it devastates everything, our families have nothing. And why are we even here? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sheila Romy, and I reside at 26275 West Highway 2026. And we have property on 8400 Natrona Road, just south of Natrona. This used to be my grandmother's land 29 years ago. And when we sold it to, my grandma passed away and my aunts and uncles sold it to Mr. Kiltz and Ron Kelly, it was an agreement that they were going to go ahead and use it for grazing their cattle. It wasn't for none of this. And right now we reside right there, right by the highway, right where the Natrona Road is, just west of our house is Natrona Road, County Road 209. And I see a lot of almost accidents there. I've almost been in a few. We have bentonite mining south of Natrona. Right now they're in full swing, 6 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night, up and down the road. The county really can't keep up with the road, maintaining the road as it is. And we are getting established up the road on our 8400 property. And I'm definitely worried about the fires, and that's all of our neighbors not being able to get out if a fire was to start, you know. It's very disheartening to see all of this happening. I worry about getting established up there now. It makes you where you don't even want to move up there now. If there's a fire to break out or whatever, I had a horse be struck down by lightning right in that meadow right there. Out on my front porch, when I moved up there, I'm going to look out and see nothing but solar farm. It is on the north side of our fence. It's on the west side of our fence. And now they're talking about putting sheep in there. So we don't have our fence established in there. We have a fence that's in there, but we had it surveyed. And now we're going to have to go ahead and change the fence because now they're wanting to put sheep in there. We have barbed wire fence up right now. So we're going to have to go ahead and change all that fence in there. So these are just some of my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board. My name is Tony Locke, and I'm a Natrona County resident, and I'm really not technically deep enough to understand all the nuance issues, but the one thing that, along with the questions that have already been asked and the additional questions that are raised here today, I just want to echo the sentiment that I think it's valuable to table this long enough to give the people who are impacted and everybody an opportunity to really dig into this, take a deep dive, take a good look, and make sure that we've shaken all the trees to make sure the concerns are addressed. I just want to make sure the people's voice is thoroughly heard. That's the biggest point I want to make here, but thank you for this opportunity.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, board members. My name is Jamie Lean, a Natrona County resident. I stand before you this evening, I guess it is, to ask a couple of questions. When Mr. Jacobs was up here speaking, he talked about 12-foot fence height, but on page 35, it says up to 25 feet that these things can be up in the air, whether it's the solar panels or the boxes for the batteries, or a shed maybe that goes out there, but it does say that in the air, 25 feet. On page 25, it talks about a 30-year plan for this. We're willing to give up this much acreage for 30 years on solar panels. He talks about 30 to 40 years, but on page 25, it specifically says 30 years. On page 55, it talks about the water, the wells that are impacted. Your precedent has been set with Ms. Jones that came and stood before you. The chemicals are not welcome here. We encourage you that the chemicals are also not welcome with a solar panel field. Mr. Birch brought to you the statements on waste created by solar panels. I tell you that these people of Natrona and their neighbors that go around this solar field have done their research. They came to you without the ability to read this 500-page packet to say, please do not put this here. Sorry, I'm not sure what I touched. My question is about the fire toxins. The wind blows in Natrona County. When it blows towards town, what are you going to do and how are you going to compensate the residents that don't live near this that are going to suffer when that fire happens? The migration paths have been touched on. Ms. Ward brought to you foreign ownership of this company. When does the foreign ownership in Wyoming land stop? That's one question I have for you. In Wyoming, a handshake is good as a contract. We know when to draw the line, and the residents have drawn the line on this. Thank you for your time.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I'm a United States Marine. I'm a veteran of foreign wars, the Gulf War. I disapprove this project
Name
because,
and address, please.
sir, my name is Lane Rowe. I currently live in Casper, Wyoming, but I own property at the end of 209 Bailey Stream Road. I disapprove of this project after hearing of the involvement with the foreign involvement. That's all I got to have.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Don Sell. I live in 35304 Powder River, Wyoming, little town. We were not notified of this. Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Would you come forward, please? Last try. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Hello.
I'm Terry Frymware. I'm from Armento. Maybe I have no business here. Do I have anything against Russ? No, I don't. But I got a question. Where's these panels coming from? Are they coming from China? Where are they coming from? Does anybody know? Can anybody tell me? I can't hear you.
Yet to be determined.
Okay, that's number one. Where's the power that these things are gonna make? Where is it going to? Is it gonna benefit the Natrona County, or what's it doing? I hear it's going to California.
Mr. Harris, do you have a response to that?
What's that?
That's yet to be determined.
Pretty big, huh?
Huh?
Pretty big.
So,
Nevertheless, this is all subsidized by the government in the end, right? I mean, they're paying subsidies here. Well, just who is the government? You're looking at them right here. This is the government right behind. And I don't understand this business at all. 2 or 3 or 4 guys can make a decision for all this. Now, I know we voted you guys to represent us, but a lot of times it don't go that way. The way it looks to me, the people pushing this is the Democrats. That's what I see. That's all I have to say.
One quick question.
Very quick.
How did you bid and design a project if you don't know what the material source is? I get fired. They won't tell you Mars power going.
So this project is planned to be constructed in 2026. That's 2 years from now. So there's a lot of unknowns on where we're gonna be getting the actual panels from. We do have deals with manufacturers in India and other countries. So we don't know right now where they're getting from, where we'll be getting them from, but there is subsidies to produce panels in the United States. And if in 2026, there's good manufacturers in the United States, we could be getting panels produced here, but that's not to be determined.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
There isn't any manufacturing.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience?
Seriously, I say you ought to get a better job if you're gonna be in Wyoming. Yeah.
Hello, my name's Tammy Sell. I'm from 35304 Powder River. We have signs on each side of our state saying, "Welcome to wonderful Wyoming. It's beautiful Wyoming." We get huge amounts of tourists coming from all over that travel 2026, going to Yellowstone, Cody, Thermop, sports, I haven't met Mr. Kiltz. I've heard he's a nice gentleman. This isn't personal with him, but I don't want to see it. We travel 2026 all the time. I'm sure the tourists, that's what they love about Wyoming is they don't have to see near as much of it. And I just am against this and the windmills as well. Just thought I'd throw that in. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to know, how can we as residents obtain one of these 530-some page document plans that have been addressed several times? We would like to read that document. How do we obtain one?
I suspect we're going to talk about that.
Pardon?
I suspect we're going to talk about that when we get out of the public hearing.
Post it on your website.
Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application?
Can I speak again for just 1 minute?
So some of you folks were getting close to 3 minutes, but I don't think you were, but come on up.
Okay. I didn't stay for that, thinking about 3 minutes.
One thing I don't think I said before, but Wyoming is a world-class hunting and livestock viewing area. And as you see by those pictures, there's elk right where this solar thing's supposed to go. And it would be a terrible shame to do that to our country.
Thank you.
And again, I don't have anything against the gentleman that owns the property, not one thing, but it's just not going to work there.
Thank you.
I know I talked real fast the first time. I just like to say, I moved out on Natrona Road because it's a beautiful, beautiful area. It's quiet and lots of wildlife. We have wild turkeys. I mean, we have them all. I haven't seen a bear or lion yet, but not to say they were not there. And a lot of people come to Wyoming because they refer to Wyoming as the Old West. It's been preserved to look like the Old West. And when you leave Casper and head out, as soon as you leave Casper, it opens up a whole new world of the Old West. On their way to Thermopolis, like she said, Cody, there's Castle Rock that a lot of people haven't even gone to. That's beautiful. And when you start driving down 2026 and you're like, oh, we're out of the city. Are we going to see an elk? Are we going to see a deer? And then they start seeing solar panels. It's not fair to the visitors that come from all around the world to come here. And J.D. Vance did say in the debate with Waltz, a minimal of solar panel components are made in Minnesota. The rest are made in China, and they're dirty. They're not good for our environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for just a small
So guys,
comment here.
we're going to cut it off after this
Oh, okay.
young lady.
I just
far
had
as returners,
questions.
as far as returners.
Returns, I get that, and I do thank you guys very much. This is very gracious of you. I had a question about this company, E.G. Haystack, because I looked at their Duns and Brad number, and it was considered low, moderate, and that worries me if the construction goes awry or decommissioning. Thank you.
So anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Okay, we've already shut it down once, and I know you had 3 minutes already, so we're, no,
Mr.
thank
Chairman?
you. No, thank you.
Could I make one small point
No, thank you. No, thank you. We're done.
kindly,
We're done.
please?
We're done. Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Would you please
Sir,
come
I'd
forward?
really like to say that the zone change on this, it changed with the 2022, much like the gravel mines, so please take that into consideration. There was a lot of things overlooked in that 22 resolution, so please consider that. Thank you.
That was illegally adopted.
Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'd like to call a closure to the public hearing on the application concerning the solar panels out at Natrona. So, Mr. Harris, you've heard a lot tonight. Now is your opportunity to provide any rebuttal or reply to what you've heard, or the gentleman on the phone, as you wish
Do you
to.
mind if is it okay if I stand up?
Sure, sure.
I heard a lot today, and I do understand your guys' concern. I would like to address two of the major points that were brought up, which one was the wildlife. We have done 2 years of environmental studies on this property, and we've been working with Wyoming Game and Fish to minimize our impact. I'm not going to stand up here and say that there's going to be no impact at all. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but we are working with them to minimize the impact that we do have. We're adding at least two migration corridors, probably 3. Y'all brought up the pipelines that go through the site. We'll be utilizing those as migration corridors. We're also breaking up the facility into multiple chunks and then not fencing off the entire 2,000 acres. So it allows for the flow of the different wildlife to go through there. The other part that was brought up was about the fires with regards to batteries. Yes, that can be dangerous, and the battery technology has come a long way, and these systems are very self-contained. So they're in these basically shipping containers. So if they do burn, they burn themselves out without expanding. They're basically siloed into their own facility inside the system, that each one of the batteries are in their own shipping container, as well as a protected battery area to prevent fire. Those are going to be the major things I wanted to address, and I do apologize I don't have the answer to every single question here today. There are still some unknowns with the fact that this project is not going to be in construction for another 2 years. We're going to be working with Pacific Corp, who's going to be the owner of this transmission line, and that is going to affect where the power goes to, and that can have an effect on what panels we end up using in the future. But I would be happy to take y'all's information and address y'all's questions in detail via email. So if any of you guys want to give me y'all's information and provide me with y'all's questions, I'd be more than happy to provide you with as much information as possible. And that'll be it from me. Ryan, would you like to address any of the questions or concerns?
Absolutely. Just a couple additional clarification points. So for decommissioning and reclamation, there will be a bond that Haystack Solar needs to have in place. That is one of the Industrial Siting Act requirements. So that bond needs to be in place ahead of construction and would be utilized should the project need to be decommissioned at any point. Regarding notifications, we sent out notification letters in June of 2024 in line with the requirements. Just wanted to also touch on some benefits of the project. Over the life of the project, just purely in property taxes, about $45 million will be paid by Infinity into the project, and about $8 million of that would go directly to Natrona County and benefit the community in a number of ways. And yeah, I guess if there are any other questions, again, I'd be happy to answer them. I think another I guess thing I want to say here is that the emergency management plan and addressing potential fire concerns, again, the plan that's in the application, it's a working document, and we are open to working with the fire department to make sure that folks are in agreement that that is adequate. Thanks.
I do have a question for Ryan. He just mentioned about how much money they're going to spend and how much money is going to go into the county. So when my property devalues,
we're gonna get money?
who's going to, or won't sell because nobody wants to buy property? Who's going to?
Or your well. If
Yeah.
your well goes bad,
Yeah.
you got no water, you got no home.
Yeah. So what's
Thank
going
you.
to happen to us residents?
I think we follow your line of thought. So Mr. Harris, I heard you offer all these folks an opportunity to get with you and maybe have a sheet of paper where they can put phone numbers and email addresses and things like that, so that, or maybe you can give them your email address so that they can follow up with you.
Yes, sir.
So, I take it with that, you're gonna stick around here for a bit.
Yes.
So, commissioners, discussion.
I think we should give it some time here and look at everything very, very closely as far as battery storage and stuff like that. I'd like to see some more emergency response stuff.
Are you suggesting tabling?
I am.
Okay. Is that a motion?
I would like to motion that we table this.
To a date certain? Is that how that works?
Yes, I would suggest tabling until the November 12th meeting. That would push the county commissioner meeting to the, I believe, December 3rd meeting at that point. And that would give an opportunity for fire to comment, hopefully be at the meeting. I think that would be the more appropriate thing, and hopefully by mid-November, they're at a point where they can actually attend and more meaningfully participate in all of this. It's been kind of a busy season for them. But I think the November 12th meeting, and to answer your question, we do have the application available in the planning department, but we will get it posted on the website so everyone can. And when I say that, we will attempt to get it posted on the website. It is a rather large document, so it may not be tomorrow, but hopefully within the next few days.
Just break it up if you have to.
Yeah, can I make a recommendation too, if we could, if it's possible with staff time? I know this can be difficult, but is there a way to make, to make the document have links that you can click from one section to another if you go to the table of contents? Because it is difficult to move around the document. Something to make it more accessible. And I recognize that y'all have a lot on your hands.
We
but-
can check with IT,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, but I don't know that we will be able to get that done, but we will make the document available.
Okay. I don't know if that's something Jacobs could do. It really would assist people, because I was struggling, up here moving back and forth, and just printing it out, period, is going to be difficult for people. So they're going to be looking at it online. And so making it as easy as they can to move around it, I think would be helpful. So just in PDF, I know you can do it. You can make little links in the table of contents where you can scroll up, click on it, and it'll take you to that section. So anything you could do to make it easier for people to review it would be helpful.
Anybody who wants to provide me with their email, I can provide them with the application. That can be clicked through.
Thank you.
So we have a motion for tabling until November 12th.
I'll
Need a
second. I'll second the motion.
So Chad seconded. I understand there's no discussion on tabling.
There's probably not a need for a discussion. on it.
Okay. So, right to the question. All those in favor of tabling the application until, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you mind if I ask a question? Are these concerns also not going to be addressed at the Board of County Commissioners hearing? And so all of the concerns that you guys have brought today, we will have another meeting with the Board of County Commissioners, and then we could then address those concerns in further detail.
I think we get, one more with you guys?
The way I understand it, you're gonna have at least two more meetings.
Yeah.
Another one with us, and then another one with us that will include a public hearing, and then one with the county commissioners, which will include another public hearing. So there's still quite a bit to be done.
Yeah. You just at the beginning.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jared.
At this point, Mr. Chair, if the matter is tabled until the November 12th meeting, you could then open the public meeting back up if you choose, when you take this back off the table. However, you have closed the public meeting at this point, so you could come back for discussion and to, I guess, just have some of the questions answered.
To add on to the public hearing, is that what
Yes.
you're saying? Okay.
Mr. Chair, before we vote, can we discuss a few things that might help us before next meeting?
Read it.
Certainly.
I think it would be helpful, there was a comment made about a zone change, and I'm not sure if staff could look into that comment about a zone change in 2022. And you, Jared, you suggested that maybe we could have somebody here to address the fire emergency. And
Yes, my intent would be to invite Brian Oliver to the meeting,
okay,
our county fire chief. Sometimes it's helpful to have him at the meeting to help in these discussions.
and road and bridge, there were some questions about access, and if we had more information about that next month, it might be easier to make a decision.
And water, not forget the
And-
water.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Good insight. All right, we have a motion and a second to table. Any more discussion? All those in favor of tabling signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So our response to the application tonight is it's tabled until November 12th, and our recommendation to county commissioners will be that we're still looking at it.
As will we.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to read. Good luck with that, and Mr. Harris, hopefully you'll be able to reach out to these folks and give them some information they've been looking for.
Unless you
All right.
move that water line right there, it's a no-go. That's our water line that goes there.
Ma'am, the meeting. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna get them to you. All right, so, next we have an opportunity for public comment. That's where citizens may bring forth items of interest or concern that are not on the agenda. Please note that no formal action will be taken on these items during this time due to the open meeting law provisions. However, they may be scheduled on a future posted agenda if action is required. So any public comment, anyone wishing to address us on public comment? Good evening, again.
Rosemary Sapon, Natrona County resident. I'd like to thank you gentlemen for listening to us and for your recommendation just a moment ago on that. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Did you realize that just submit your stuff to commissioners and then they decide who has a final vote on this?
If you want to come here, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I was just wondering, do you guys make your choice and then the commissioners have the final vote? Is that how it works?
Yes.
Okay, thank
We
you.
advise the commissioners. Anything else, public hearing wise? Public comment, communications?
Mr. Chair, we don't have any communications at this time. This should be the only thing on our agenda for the November hearing. So we will get everything lined out and hopefully have some answers by that hearing.
All right. Chair would entertain a motion. Adjourn. Motion and second for adjournment at 7:56 PM. All in favor? Aye. Meeting concludes 7:56 PM.